Punjab, I mean, of course, the most suffering in a partition took place in Punjab. But we think before that in Punjab, there was also the most syncretism, as I put in my book, a couple of these plays. This play Heer Ranja, which is the most famous, like a Romeo Juliet type of story. In this, when Ranja loses his beloved, he doesn't go, though the writer is this, what's it called, Sayyid Muslim. The name is escaping me now. I should remember him. But he doesn't send him to any Sufi khanka. He goes to Gorakhnath's place in the Jogiat Ka Tilla. Gorakhnath ji talks to him and he says, you'll have to see every woman as your mother or your sister or your daughter. So Gorakhnath ji is, he's a Jat. He doesn't follow anyone. He says, no, I'm going to see my Heer as my beloved. And by then it's getting evening time. Gorakhnath ji is looking everywhere for his shank, so he can start the arti. It may be Gorakhnath ji, it may be, and they sometimes call him Balnath. Right? So he says, look, I have your shank hidden somewhere, but until you make me a yogi on my terms, I'm not going to take out this shank. So he takes it out and he blows it and he does the arti. So he becomes a yogi and he does what the yogis are doing. After 3 years, then Gorakhnath ji comes to Ranja. He said, I'm really impressed with you. Even in a dream, you have never failed to think, or even in a dream, you have never thought of any other woman except for Heer. Heer is the female, and this is a type of yoga. This is a type of tapasya. So I give you a blessing. Go and you will get Heer. So there's a number of different oral traditions. This one was written by Waris Shah in Urdu. So the hero, is a yogi there,
So I went to Dunagiri, and one hell of a powerful place that is.
Dunagiri.
Dunagiri.
Close
the
by.
place is
Dronagiri or
Dronagiri.
Dunagiri, yeah.
Where is that?
It's
It's
some
way
distance.
beyond,
It's about it
way beyond Ranikhet. So you normally take a halt in Ranikhet
You
and you
have to
climb
come
up
and spend
500
some time
steps.
because actually over here
Yeah, 500 steps.
there are so many.
And that's where the
places.
cave is, no? Where Leher Mahasaya and all
Yes.
those.
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's the
Really?
place.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
is
there.
the place.
That is the place?
But there are many
Yes.
more very close by. Do you
That-
have the time to see? But those are the known ones.
Okay.
There's a lovely place very close by which can be done. And there was somebody called Sombari Babaji who
Yeah.
was in this area. He was very well known. There were a couple of saints in the area who were very well known. One is Sombari Babaji, one is Herakhandi Babaji, and this is, I'm referring to the Herakhandi Babaji.
The original
Later
one.
there was somebody else who claimed
Yeah.
to be Herakhandi
The
Babaji.
original
I'm not
one.
referring to him. I'm referring to the one who was there till about 1920.
Hmm.
And they were friends.
Lahiri.
No.
The-
Sombari Baba.
Sombari, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sombari Babaji and Herakhandi Babaji were friends in the sense that they were often seen together.
Together.
So Sombari Babaji there's an ashram over here.
Hmm.
And
In Padampuri.
about 18 at Padampuri, and about 15-18 kilometers from there in Palara there is a gufa, because actually most of the tapasya has been done in gufas,
In gufas, yeah.
naturally, because you had to have a place to stay. Later it became that they built a kutia often near it. So in Jageshwar there is an amazing gufa, Airavat gufa. And I was telling you the story of Jageshwar, which hadn't happened then. So Lord Shiva was himself in tapasya at Jhakasen, and when he was, then all the gods and the rishis and everybody at different times had come, to have his darshan, or I suppose there are state matters also that are to be discussed.
Pay the respects,
So-
maybe.
So, at one stage, Lord Indra, as the Lord of the gods, had come, and Lord Indra's Vahan is Airavat. So, Airavat Gufa is it represents the fact that he had come. And what had happened is when Lord Shiva was there, and the Saptrishis had also come, and one day the Saptrishis' wives were roaming around and they saw him, you know, in dhyan, and they just sat there and they lost all sense of time. And it was only Arundhati, Vashisht's wife, who said, "I think we need to go back."
It's
And
late.
they were not.
It's getting late.
They were not willing. So when they didn't come back all night, then the rishis by then were sort of, you know, they went looking for them and they found them, you know,
Mesmerized by this.
mesmerized
Yeah,
by
totally mesmerized.
one yogi, and they cursed him.
The rishis.
Because at that point of time, and that is a play which happens all the time to show you the world reality and the eternal reality. Because you don't expect rishis ever to be living in the world and not to recognize. And this story in different ways has been told many times, coming to mythology. So when they cursed him, and he showed himself as a Jyotirling in different places, and those are supposed to be where the temples were built.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So what was the curse?
I mean, I don't
You don't
know what
remember
the
the curse,
curse
yeah.
was, but they had cursed
there
him,
was-
and then he showed,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then they realized.
They told him to leave, and he cut his own linga. He
Yeah.
cut. There is a
Yeah,
violent.
so but you know, this part of it then gets into very. I prefer to leave all these stories and
Because, you know,
because it's not literal.
Right. I think
Yeah.
what you said was right on. How rishis sometimes don't recognize the God in front of them,
Yes.
where it is a lesson that I take to myself.
Yes, it is
Where
a lesson.
we are many times when we are in these experiences, they require these experiences that we will not be there actually. We will not be aware. The less we are present, the more fuller the experience is. But in afterthought, only then you realize
You realize
what it was, what a great moment. It's in the encounter with God is not a, you can't record it like you're recording
and
time.
how can you speak of it?
It's because you were not there really.
And also because as soon as
you know, you don't
you
feel the
limit
need.
it, if you define the
You define
infinite,
it,
you
then-
automatically
reduced.
Limited.
But there is a lovely story in terms of this, because it always reminds one of the fact that this is the situation that we're always in, and the important thing, I think this is true for a yogi always, that the difference I see between yogis and others is that a yogi, his alertness is like this. So he might be doing anything at all, but when he comes, you know, if somebody stands in front of him, his alertness is immediate. He doesn't need, you know, like normal human beings need a lot of reminders and they can't see it. Whereas a yogi, it's not like
It's like the yogi never sleeps. He's always in contact.
Oh,
Right?
yes, always in awareness, even in his sleep. But in the literal sense, no. So there's this lovely story of because the dialogues between Shiv and Parvati, I find very, 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 very revealing.
Yeah, that's
So
extremely fascinating.
Lord Shiva, Parvati is asking Lord Shiva, seeing Ram and Sita and seeing Ram crying that Sita is not there. He says, can this be Vishnu? You know, I mean, so caught in that, how can it be Vishnu? So Lord Shiva says, just let this one be. This is Vishnu. But she's not willing to let it be because she wants to check that is it him. So she goes to him as Sita.
Parvati.
Parvati goes to him as Sita. So when Parvati goes to him as Sita, Sri Ram folds his hands and says, Mahadev aaj saath mein nahi aaye.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that.
So
You-
he recognizes her.
Yes.
So immediately she realizes he knows. So this is the play. And the understanding of what the play is doesn't mean that you don't know that. But this play has to be conducted at all times.
But isn't this what we keep
the
saying, the soul
interesting thing
connect?
is that when,
right?
when she goes back then, and Lord Shiva says, you went to Sri Ram as Sita, from today you're my mother. So, you know, this play, and this is, for me, this is what mythology really is. And particularly a lot of these stories, when they are told by somebody who is at a different level, and it has a completely different impact. It's a reminder.
And what I love, I mean, like as a Westerner too, right? I love the way it overlaps, the place, an actual physical place, and then there's the story, and the story is always alive. And
Yes.
it's a little bit of history in it, and you know, we divide it into history and mythology, and then our rational mind is like, oh well, you know, but this is the mythological part, this is the part we should not take literally, we should take it on another way, this is metaphoric. India should be very proud of the fact that these myths are living.
Yes. They are.
Because there are so many levels on which the reality is being experienced, and nothing is flattening our reality in life more than to empty out mythology, to empty out the sacred, and to make it one flat land where only what is scientific, and not only what is scientific, but what is decreed the proper science, and that then you dig into that and you see it's really about profit and power. What I love about India, and when people fall in love with India, why? Because all these levels are operating simultaneously.
Yes, they are.
And
They are.
and they connect to the self and to the awareness.
Sure.
And even people who can't like think of it like that, they experience it.
That's what Trilochana
Yes.
Shastri's paper was about, the essay was about, how this entire thing is, how it's so connected, even though it seems disconnected,
That's the thing, this is the challenge that I also face, and I've overcome it. How to live in the in that mythical plane, and go back to work and live in a certain different plane, and then this kind of switch back and forth that I constantly
I
have
think
to.
you will feel the switch.
So interesting.
You will feel the switch for a long time, but eventually it won't be disturbing. Initially, that sort of it's like it hits you when you move from a spiritual plane where you've been there for a long time